Hi, and welcome back to the channel. And what can I say? The storage units, all that stuff that come out of there, absolutely fantastic stuff. God, that were hard work going through all that stuff and recording it all and putting videos out for you guys. So I hope you appreciate what I've done for you there. Right, so this week we're going to do some retrobrighting. And the reason why we're going to do some retrobrighting is to show you guys how to restore a Commodore 64 RetroBrite. I mean, all this process will work on most plastics that go yellow anyway. In the storage videos, I did say if anybody wanted me to do a RetroBrite video, and a couple of you did say you'd love to see me do one. So this week, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a Commodore 64 from the storage bins, and we're going to RetroBrite the case and the keys, and let's see through the video the whole process on how to RetroBrite. So if you're enjoying these episodes, please hit the thumbs up, notification bell, it'll notify you for all up and coming videos. And thank you very much to us Patreon supporters and us YouTube supporters and everybody that's subscribed to the channel. So let's get to the RetroBrite C64. Let's get to it. So this is a C64 that we got from the storage pickups. There was three. There was two of these and there was a bread bin. What I want to do on this one is have a look at this one and see if we can get this one, or see if it's working, but we'll have a look at that at the end. But what I want to do is, if you can see, it's awfully yellow. And the case is not too bad. The case is pretty good, so I think all the case is going to need is a good scrub up in the bath. It feels as though the sticker's still over the top of the Commodore badge, so hopefully we might be able to pull that away and leave a brand new sticker. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take it apart, put all the screws into one tub and the springs from under the keys, put all the keys in the other tub, and then we'll take it up and give it a good wash, ready for the RetroBrite process. So I'm just going to go into a montage now, and I'll speak to you once it's all done and dusted. Looking at that key, that one doesn't look level, does it? Some pound sign key that somebody's put on wrong. It's going to come off anyway, so let's just make sure that's all right before we do anything else. Yeah, that should be all right. I'll go back okay. Right, first key's gone. Spring in the bucket. Let's click into a montage. Right, so that's all that stripped down. It is quite dirty and disgusting. We've got the keys out, all stripped down out of there. You can see that some of them are well brown when you look at them, especially when you look on the inside. Notice the difference on the keys. I mean, that's supposed to be grey. It's not grey, it's more like a mustard colour. So we're going to give them a good wash in the bath, along with the case and everything. So we're going to do that next, and that'll prepare these for the RetroBrite process that we're going to do shortly. So that's a keyboard with all the keys pulled off. As you can see, it's quite disgusting. It must be 30, 35 plus years of kids' fingers, grime, food, God knows whatever else is on there that I don't even want to think about. We're going to give that a good clean off, so that won't look like that when it goes back. The motherboard, it's very dusty, and it's got a nice heat shield on it. So we're going to try and clean that up a little bit. It is a bit rusty, but it is a nice heat shield on there, and it does protect the VIC and the SID. And a little thing on there for the CPU, is it, I believe? Let's see what that says on there. These right? Yeah, it's 8500. See, that's your CPU, but they run a lot cleaner and a lot cooler, should I say, not cleaner. Anyway, so they don't really need a sink on that one. So that looks a bit disgusting. So that wants a really good clean off, but we'll do that and I'll show you what it looks like in the rebuild. Springs, they're all a little bit corroded all across the bottoms of them, so they're going to get soaked in some white vinegar just to kill all the corrosion off the springs. And then I've got some silicone spray them, so we'll spray them with silica. I saw that on another YouTube video not so long since. I used to put WD-40 on them, but you know yourselves, WD-40, it stinks. It absolutely stinks. So it's perfumed. So if you spray silicone spray on it, then it protects it a lot better and there's no smell from it. So that's what we're going to do with them. I pulled the little plastic pieces off the bottom of the space bar and just throw them in the bottom. I don't want them on there anyway. It makes the space bar sit level when you put it into the tray. And you'll see that when I put them all out for the retrobrighting. So, right, off to the bath we go and let's get scrubbing. Right, so here we are. All I've done is chucked it in the bath and just let it soak for a while. I've thrown all the keys in just to let it soak. So what we're going to do first is try and get rid of all this crap off the keyboard and give these a good scrub and put them back into the tubs. So here we go for another wash up montage and I'll speak to you shortly. So I've just put the light on, thought it'd make it a little bit brighter for you to be able to see. That's the keyboard that we've just cleaned down. There is a few little places still that we need to just clean off, but the majority of the muck and crap that was on there has now gone. Right, so you can see there, can't you? The bottom side of that case is all yellow along there. So I didn't think I was going to have to retrobright the bottom case and the top case, but I think we're going to do that anyway. I noticed on that one there's a tiny little bit on the bottom, so I may as well give them both a good retrobright and let's see if they come any better than this. So that's the bottom case done. I've got everything else I can. After you use a bit of IPA to get that sticker residue off the back of that, but I'll do that before we do the retrobrighting process. And that little mark will need to come off as well before we do. We'll try and get that off afterwards after we've given it a good dry. That is absolutely tedious work. And God, that's over. It's another half an hour, 40 minutes of my life I'm never going to get back. But you can see the keys, they're quite yellow. So that's what we're going to try and get rid of. And also we're going to do the case as well. So that needs to be done. Even the F1 keys, when you look at them, they're supposed to be grey. Might look grey there, but does it look grey there? So hopefully we can get these back to looking good. So that's it for the cleaning process. Soapy water, scrubbing brush, good old sponge. The reason why I go around every single key is because you need to get all the muck off it. If you leave any specks of muck or anything like that, the retrobright process won't go through that and it'll leave a dark spot, etc. and things like that. So that's why I do that. So that's it. All we need to do now, it's late at night at the moment, with the power of YouTube. It's going to be the morning, and then we're going to get this stuff wrapped up and we'll explain what I do, and we'll put it out into the sun and let's see what a difference a bit of retrobrighting can actually do to these cases. So this is a process that I do with the keys. All you do is get yourself a baking tray, cover it in some tin foil so you get the reflect back off, put some of the blonde bee on it. That's really cheap is that stuff. You can get it from, I think it's Home Bargains, for about £1.40, £1.39 a bottle or something like that is, but that's all I ever use, is just these bottles. So I'm going to put a load of them over the top now, and then cover it with some cling film, and we'll pop that outside, and then I'll move on to doing the case unit. Obviously what you want to do is try and get it as covered as evenly as possible. What I tend to do is just go around it like this with the bottle first, and then I'll use a little paintbrush and just push it around a bit and make sure they're all covered. Do make sure you're using some gloves with this stuff. It will burn your hands. It'll leave little white patches on it and marks on your hands. So I'm just going to continue with that now until we've got everything covered in cream. Once all that's applied, I need to find a little paintbrush, like I said. So I hear some of you saying now, why do you need cling film? Well, cling film just stops it from sort of evaporating and the keys going dry. You do have to maintain massaging the keys, otherwise you'll end up with like a marbling effect on it. So that's another reason why. Sometimes it's a little bit of a pain in the ass getting the cling film right, but as I said, it is only there to stop it coming up this end and drying out. So what I like to try and do now we've got the cling film on and we're not going to get this stuff all over his fingers, is just sort of feed it back, push it all back, so it's all bubbling up, so it's coming up over the rest of the keys. Just hunch them up, make sure the keys are staying flat. I guarantee you will see a big difference on these keys. So there we go, that's that part done. So we'll take that outside now and just put that in the sun, and then we'll prepare the cases. And the sun, cat meows. You know what I mean, once you prop it up a little bit, just fetch it up a little bit with some stones, just so it tilts forward a little bit. Stop it from running this way. Right, so we'll leave that to bake for a bit, and we'll come back and have a look at that a little bit later while I sort the covers out on this case. Right, so the case we attack it a little bit differently. We know it's only on the front here and the rest of the case isn't bad anyway, but we will smear it all around the case anyway. So I put some cling film down just so we don't get any on the work surface. And I'm just going to dump what I can out of these other bottles first. And we're just going to brush it with the paintbrush. Pretty much empty them ones. I've got a few more, like I said, I've got a few more anyway. So we'll just make a start with what we've got there. Let's get a bit in the brush first. Paint up the front. The reason why I do it this way up is because it's got a little lip under the bottom. And if you go up like that, it'll just sit into the lip. Look, you can see how it's forming under there. We just want a nice even coat all over the unit. Just try and get a bit more on now. And we'll just keep on brushing until that's done. The badges are pretty good, the labels usually stay okay. Sometimes the feet go a bit there. technical name for you. Sometimes the rubber feet go a little bit soft and gooey, but we can replace them ones anywhere they are available. Just try and get a nice even coat all over. Put my finger in it now, so you're going to see what happens to it when you get this stuff on your fingers. Just pop a little bit more on and then we can do the back edge. You guys won't see that while I do that, but it's just the back side. I'll just do it the same as what I did on the fronts anyway, just brushing it over, nice even layer. Right, it's got a nice even layer on there now, so we should be able to just wrap it up with cling film now. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm just going to flip it over so we get a nice clean film side on the case, if I can, without lifting it all up, making a mess. It's that front edge that we mainly want to keep clear if we can. So sorry, we'll just bring that up. We'll bring that up, bring that over there. And fill up and over that edge so it's nice and flat. We're not leaving little lines and strokes and things in it. And again, this stuff is all this is on for is to stop it drying out anyway. So I'm just going to pop that outside. I'm just putting the sun that way around so we've got the nice side that we want to get cleaned up mainly, all done and dusted. So I'm just going to budge that up a little bit and then we can bring the other one out. So again, all I'm going to do now is repeat the same process with the top cover that we had a little bit of yellowing down this front edge down here. So as I said, just repeat the process. Done. So I'll take that out and put that into the sun too. And then we'll, what you need to do is when you put it in the sun is just periodically just go over it and just run your fingers over the edges, down these edges, over the tops. Just disturb it. Don't leave it any creases or anything in the same places. And it should come out pretty good, to be fair. It's been a lot of years since I've done some retrobrighting, so it'll be interesting to see what the end product in this is. So take it outside and let's stick it in the sun. So there we go, we've got us 3 pieces, and we've got our skis over there, and we've got a base down there. So we'll just leave them out in the sun for a while, and we'll come back and see how they're doing a little bit later on. So that's the top cover that I've taken back out of the sun and washed it all off, and it's looking pretty good, to be fair. But we'll know better in a bit when it's settled down. The keys are on the way still. Right, so we've got all that done. So we've stripped down, we've cleaned all the keys off in the bath, we've retrobrighted everything. The keys did take a couple of twos in the sun, so I had a day, and then I did it again for another day just to get that absolutely spot on. So now we're at the point now where we can rebuild this Commodore 64, and then we'll take a look at the differences. So here we go. So first of all, we're going to have the cover, the top piece, and clip it out of there. It should unclip nicely, just like that. That's clipped back in there now, so that's okay. That looks nice. We've got all the blue that was inside that power supply in there as well, so that's come out. When we get it all built up, I'm going to peel this sticker off and give it a good clean and all, because it's a brand new sticker under there. It's still got the plastic over the top of it. So that's us top finished, ready to go back on. Here's the bottom. What I did is I took the bottom shielding. I was going to leave the shielding out, but the shielding holds the keyboard as well. So what I did is I lightly sanded it and just give it a little bit of a blast with primer, just to give it a little bit of protection, that's all. So that can go back in there, if it's the right way around. No, it's not, it's that way. You can tell because there's a flat side there for the cartridge. So that sits back down there, in there. That's this plastic sheet that we had in there before to separate the motherboard from there. I did give the motherboard a good clean, so it is a lot better on there. The key contacts on the user port and the tape port look pretty good, so I didn't do much more on there. I still haven't plugged this in to test it yet, so once we get it all built up, I'll plug it in and we'll see if it works, and then we'll do a comparison of what it was like before and what it's like now. So we should just be able to slot that. Normally slots into the other end first and then slightly into there. So that's down. So we're in place, we're getting there now. So the top piece that we need, I'll just take the screws out for the keyboard. That's one. I'll just undo that other key. So again, what I do with this cover is I just give it a light sound and I hit it with some primer. And as you can see, it looks loads better. I didn't go near these points here because these are going to be touching onto the chips to help with the heatsink. So we're going to put a little bit of paste on them now. I'll just pop that there for a minute. We don't need much, just a little bit of a blib. I know some of you are probably going to go nuts at me now for where I'm putting this on, but it doesn't need much, to be fair. I only need a little bit. So that should do it. It's not a lot, it doesn't need much, it just needs to help transfer the heat. So that should be okay for that now. So we can flip that over and we can put that back in. And slot that down there. Yep, the chips are now holding it off from sitting down properly. So that's good. That's what we want. So it's pushing down on the chips. So I'm going to find the screws. I'm holding that down because it's trying to push back. So that says screws in the board. All looking good. As I said, we're going to throw away this shield because it was rusty, but it's got the keyboard mounts attached to it. I suppose I could have broke them off, but it looks a bit untidy, doesn't it? So we may as well have it back looking properly. The keyboard's easy to install. So what you do is you look for the little notch that's missing, which is up at that side there, look, and there's a notch down there. So we just plug that back in. On that side. So you can sit that back down there under them two little slots underneath there. It should just wiggle and slot into the slot. And then we should be lined up for his two screws for the top there. So I can put that straight back in there now. Some of you might be thinking, why are you putting it back together when you've not tested it? Because I want to. And these, to be honest, I think these short boards are pretty good anyway. So I'm fingers crossed everything's going to be okay. So that's that. You saw the keyboard before. These looked really, really manky and grimy on here, so I've given this a good wash off. You saw that. Time to rebuild the keys. None of you've seen the keys yet. The keys are absolutely stunning. Put springs back on. As you can see, that spring looks a little bit taller than the rest. So I think what I'm going to do is just set that one to one side because it may be for the keyboard. Keyboard. It may be for the space bar. So we'll sit them to one side. If I remember rightly, we push that across to one side. So that's on. Oops, I'll throw that one away because I didn't want it. So that. That one on there. Nice, it is nice. And then we're going through the mammoth task then of putting all these keys back on. So I'm just going to go into a montage now while I do that. So, cue montage. So that's it. We've got the keyboard in, we've got the motherboard back in, the keys, you can see they're looking pretty good. They're looking really nice, them keys. So now I can pop the top back on. So the LED, when you put this back in, it doesn't matter which way around it goes. Pop the 3 screws back in. I've got a couple of marks I couldn't get out at the bottom. There's a little bit there and a little bit there. It just would not come out at all. So the Commodore never did bother putting the rubber feet back in the back here, because it just sits on that as a rest. It's enough with just those rubbers at the front. Sometimes the rubbers at the front get a little bit rough when you're retrobrighting, so you can either pull them off and put new ones on, or you can just take a chance at retrobrighting without. So that's back together now. Well, doesn't she look lovely? Doesn't she look B-E-A beautiful? That is absolutely stunning. It almost looks brand new again. But does it work? So that's what we're going to do now. We'll plug it in and see if the bloody thing works. Okay, here she is, look. You see a little bit shiny down here. That's from where somebody's had their hands on when they've been typing. We'll see the power lights on now, look. So if I can pan you up to the TV, and she's alive. Let's try and scope you in a little bit. So okay, you can see that she's up and running. That comes straight away. I'm absolutely amazed at these things, they're awesome. But this is one of them out of the storage unit bins that we was going through. So I'm just going to check the keys now to make sure they're all working, and then we'll have a look at see if we make sure the sound's working and things like that. So we've got back arrow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, plus minus, pound sign, clear home. We'll send the key to the top. So I know the arrow keys are working because I've just tested them now. Delete, that works. If I press Control and 1, it should change colour, which it does. And then I'm going to go across the top row. So I've got Q, W, E, R, T, Y, U, I, O, P, at, star, up. I'll check restore at the end. I'll check run stop as well. We can check shift now. If we press shift, press A, we should get symbols, which we do. So at least I know A and that's working now. Let me put you a different colour on. So Control and 2 for white. So we've got A, D, S, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, brackets, nope, equals, return's going to syntax error. We'll try shift and run stop to check run stop. It's going to go load, which it did. We know the shift lock works, so we can go down to Commodore key. If we press Commodore key and 1, it changes into another colour, so we'll go back to white, so at least we know the Commodore key works. There's your picture for that. So we'll go Z. So all them keys were working on there. We'll try this shift here. Yep, that shift works. And arrows, we know they are working anyway. So the F keys, you won't see anything, but if you watch the cursor steady, you'll see it flash. See it? So if that's F1, so F2, flashy, yep, that's working. F5, yep, that's flashing. F7, that's working. So we'll try as restore now. So run stop, restore, clears the screen out. I'll just turn it off, back on again. Control and white because you can see it a lot clearer. Let's pop a cartridge in to test the sound. So what I'm going to test it with is Badlands. So we'll flick that off, pop this cartridge in, start that up, and we can see straight away that that's screen's coming up on, and so it's booting into the game. Just take a little while to boot into this game. The sound's a little bit quiet, so I'll turn that up. So the SID's singing away there, so that's pretty good that we know that the SID's working. Yep, that looks pretty good to me. I know I've not tested it with the joysticks, I know I've not put the diag harness on it, but I'll do that off screen. I'm sure it's going to be perfectly fine. Seems to run really well anyway. So, right, let's get some comparison videos, images up to show you the before and after when we're finished with the RetroBrite. So we'll just do that now. So cocked up. I thought I was recording when I peeled it off, but I wasn't. So you can see now, I've peeled that off and it looks really nice. Looks really nice. There's a few little marks on it, but hey, what do you expect? Right, well there you go guys. You've seen out a RetroBrite now. That's the process that I've always used. There is a big controversy about it's going to come back, it'll look worse. No, it won't. It will come back, it won't look any worse. It will come back because the bromine, which is a fire retardant, which is a chocolate colour, which is actually inside the plastics. Okay, some people say, okay, if it's the sun that brings the bromine out, why can you put it outside and it'll lighten up and it don't get darker? Right, well, through your windows, it doesn't take UV. UV does not come through them windows. All you get is heat. And what happens when you put heat on plastic? Well, it melts, doesn't it? Okay, it doesn't do it to that degree, but it warms it and it softens it and it allows the bromine to come to the surface. So the RetroBrite process is to just remove that surface of the bromine off the top. So rightly so, over time it will come back. I mean, I've got some things here that I've done 4 or 5 years ago. They're still good. They're brilliant. But yeah, I've got some other stuff that a couple of years down the line you can start to see it coming back again. So it is a bit heavy hit and miss, and yeah, okay, there's lots of people out there saying you shouldn't do it, it makes the plastics go brittle. Well, plastic, 40-year-old plastic, 30, 40, it's going to be brittle anyway. A little bit of cream and a little bit of sun doesn't make the plastics any brittle to what it was going to be anyway. So that's a C64 that we've now got, and it's looking absolutely fantastic. It's back to looking new again. I did show you on the video that we put the cartridge in and played the game, and what I said I was going to do is put it on the diag harness off the screen and check that out, and to be fair, the diag harness, it's just passed everything. So that's absolutely fantastic. So that's one of the storage bins, C64s, so that's good stuff. That's now up and done. If you enjoy watching retro repairing or any kind of repairing, I do things from the early 70s, early 80s, around that era, right up until today's stuff. Xbox 360s, PS3s, PS4s, you name it, I've had a go at repairing them. So if you enjoy watching these, make sure that you do the good stuff and hit that and hit the other bell and hit the notification, and if you are enjoying it and you want to support us, you're more than welcome to pop along to Patreon and sign up on all other tiers at the Patreon. They do get behind the scenes videos, they do get the videos earlier, you are able to communicate with me through Patreon as well. We're also on Facebook, so I do have a Facebook group, so you're welcome to check the description. Leave me a comment by all means, I'd love to hear from you, and join the Facebook group, and you can have a chat with me in there. So if there's anything that you've actually seen on here and you want to speak to me about the stuff, by all means hit me up in the Facebook group. So that's it for this week. All I can say is check out the links in below. We've got Retro for You, there's Captain Commodore, there's Josip RetroBrite, and there's Yark, yet another retro channel. Them guys are doing some good stuff, so be sure that you make sure that you check their channels out. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.